Okay. All right. Thursdays we have come again. There we go. And everything looks good too. Getting green across the board. Getting the audio in. He's having a seizure. He's growing distant.
I wish I need to get like a really good camera that has like a zoom and stuff. I'd love to be able to just do like a tactical zoom while I'm staring.
You know, I wish that the camera
was
that I had...
having problems?
No.
What?
Oh,
What did
I
you
was
say?
using
Though?
my QR. I was scanning my QR code.
I'd love to have a camera that could do the Hitchcock zoom, where it's like that weird displacement when it zooms in on somebody.
Yeah.
You know how they do that, right? In real life,
I don't
It's
actually.
they get you on a they get it on a dolly and it's on a rail, and while they're backing up the dolly, they're zooming in on you. So
Yeah.
the background is moving away from you, and
The same rate that you're moving.
Yeah, it's very.
Woohoo!
Once you realize how they do it, you see it. You can see it happening.
Yeah. The session has begun, and we have people ready and willing to see us. Hello, Inky.
Oh, it's
Oh.
inky.
Ooh, even better. We have ourselves a subscription. Thank you.
19 months.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's,
That's
Probably is
fantastic.
now.
I'm just frozen for you, D. Oh, there it goes. I was watching the stream just now, and like I was seeing everyone else move, and I was just like,
I don't know. It didn't seem that way to me.
My screen just keeps blacking out, so
Is it drinking?
it just like it'll play perfectly fine for like 2 minutes, and then the screen goes black, and then I press play, and it picks right back up where it was. The sound keeps going, everything. It just the screen
That's weird.
goes black. So, yep.
Ah,
All right.
so.
Oh, September.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
everything
September.
costs a little
Everything's
bit
cheaper. Wait,
30%.
I can't do that stuff out loud. Like,
You gotta really put your gut into it.
yeah, it just goes over the top. Like, I can't be like down here or in the middle. It's just kind of like it's got to shoot over the hill.
I feel like that's exactly what it's meant to do.
I wish that Twitch chat would allow gifts like Discord. That would be amazing.
That would be crazy. Even in those chats, there are like thousands of chats.
Right?
happening
Can you
at
imagine
once.
that? It'd be like it'd just be gift turds, gigantic piles of them.
There'd be there'd be cocks everywhere. Like they couldn't stop them all.
What's the state of our situation here? Cool, using our emote too. I will eventually get better ones than those. They're
Those are
rainbow.
pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean they're like rainbow Smarties, is what they look like. But I wanted
That's
something
true.
more. I wanted something more anime, more what do you call it? A little more quartered out and 3-dimensional. Or I would say the actual would be 2.5D,
Right.
instead of just being flat.
Yeah.
Not hating, but definitely want better ones. There's more of them. Okay, so last round, it was basically a huge shopping trip. That was as far as we really got. We went through, bought a boatload of ammunition, weapons, and some neat custom items to help things along. And it pushed into the realm of, Danny would like to create a bag of holding in shadows. Or something equivalent. Actually, the bag of holding idea from like D&D, if you turn that into a backpack, how useful could that be?
Well, I want to make the ammo bag that is intelligent and it provides you with what you want.
Oh, are you talking about from Inside Out 2, the little backpack?
No, I wasn't talking about Toodles. But I mean just that idea that you reach in, you're like, I need the ammo instead of like opening and like looking through and because Barrack
That's
had
what
it
I
like
thought
on
of when you said that,
bandoliers.
so there you go. It always knows what you want. I feel like something that always knows what you want, though, would have to have some kind of brain connection, and then there'd be something nefarious there. It's like a genie. It's like, I want this, and then D's like, ah, yes, but with a twist.
Right.
So, speaking of things like that in Magic in general, how, just real fast before we jump in, how much do you want to apply your new setup? Because a lot of it doesn't really require a lot. It's literally a reframing of how things would work. We want to go with your rupture idea as it is, where it basically detracts with multiple losses or multiple duds on a check and that kind of thing, and that peels away your tolerance as opposed to the way I had it before. Do you want to give that a bit of a test run? We don't have to throw all the mechanics in, just some. And then,
Sure.
yeah, because I'd
I'm
like
just
to give
not
it a
gonna
shot.
fail, so it'll be easy.
Right. Yep.
I mean, it's kind of how it works, where you just like when you add the points of exhaustion, right? Your tolerance is kind of ticking anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Originally, it was just anyone that would come up in your roll. You'd have to like take it away. But I liked it better
Yeah.
than going into the negatives and just hitting 0 and basically you're screwed. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're fucked. You know, like.
Yeah, and that's part of like I have 8 tolerance, right? So I built
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Too.
you've definitely made it work, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Mitigated.
So, yeah, we can do the ruptures the way that you were talking about. Basically, it's a rupture when you overdo it, and it just deprives you of your tolerance, and it goes down, 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 down. And then, of course, whenever you screw up on, like at 0, if I remember correctly, because the cascades are the ones that hit when you're out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you hit 0 and screw up again, that's when the bad stuff happens. The really bad stuff.
Yeah, and then you're on fumes and you're trying to make the cargo.
Yep.
And there's nothing there.
A plow. Yeah, so that's fine. I don't know, did you check? I've got 4 different categories that you can kind of experiment with in terms of mentality for the magic aspect of it. Again, this will be kind of the last point that I want to get that out there, but I have elements, chaos, quantum, ether. That should be somewhat on the face of it understood. Elements are just literally the elements: earth, air, fire, water. Chaos deals with the decay, disorder, rot, and entropy. Anything that kind of like disrupts. It's the disruption side of it, because that's part of reality. Everything kind of decays and goes back down into a chaotic form. Quantum is anything that deals with dimension, space, physics, all that stuff. So if you want something to go or behave weird in like a kinetic sense or anything else, teleportation, that's quantum.
I was gonna say I've put energy into portal-y planar intuition type stuff.
Yep. And then, of course, ether is all about the raw energy, just pumping stuff up, dreams, the astral planes, anything dealing with like spirit, spirituality, and metaphysics, stuff like that. So those are the 4 that I have currently, and you can see those like kind of highlighted in the OneNote. So if you want to,
I haven't looked.
yeah, it's just in the new mechanical rework for it. I have them highlighted. The life category, I'm not sold on. It's not strong enough. I want something that's going to be kind of a fit in that 5th slot. But those other 4, I really like.
Nice. So Danny is going to try like putting ideas to action and creating a bag.
I just want to
of
see
holding.
how it feels, because, like I said, the magic system really, this just creates definitions, and it makes it easier to like understand what it is I want done. So it's literally not that much of a change. It's just literally, okay, ruptures don't apply until you actually get multiple ones on a spellcrafting check, and that counts against your tolerance at that point. And then if you screw it up when you're at 0, then you get the real crazy mutation stuff.
Yeah, so what it was before was that if you got more than 3 ruptures in a single spellcraft, then it would trigger the cascade.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, like I don't have to worry about doing this stuff right now. It's going to take a while. We're out shopping still.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just basically pointing out that as far as if you wanted a framework, there's a basic framework already there, because I've been putting hours in.
Where is that?
It is, like I said, it's in that OneNote where it says the Shadows Official. Where did I put you? And it's going to be underneath the Magic tab, and it's going to be New Magic System.
New magic
right there.
system.
Yeah. And I've just got it highlighted. It's to the right of the text if you don't have it expanded.
There you go. I got you a link.
So I sent y'all an email. with stuff in it. Corporate speak.
You
Yay!
did. I hooked it up to my OneNote immediately so that I could just drill it into my skull. Cool. So yeah, that sounds like something Danny might want to do. So what we were doing last time as we finished up our shopping spree was Malcolm was looking for recommendations on someone we can get protection from, and we're given a Sandra, Natalie, Willow, and the Wind Boutique was I think our next destination, because a good offense is great, but we need to be able to take bullets too and magical implements. And I think at this point we're okay, but we're not great. I think is where we're left off.
I think that a good offense is the best defense. When they're dead, they
I think
can't
you're
hurt
gonna
you.
say that.
Anyway.
I do want to figure out how to have like a death curse, like in Dresden.
The one that makes it so that if you do
Like
something,
whatever the Arcanist version of Last Stand would be, you expend all of your magical energy at once in a AoE or a specifically crafted spell.
Yeah, I think Terry Goodkind had something very similar to that too. Like, wizards would pop off and then explode like a nuclear bomb. Whenever they died, anyway.
I remember reading one of the Ringworld books, and like, there's that one spell that he couldn't say, like he couldn't even think about it, like because it was just so vile. I don't remember what it was, but like, throughout the whole book, he was like, "Yeah, the spell that I remember, or that I thought I remembered, start creeping up," and he'd be like, "No." It's kind of interesting. Like even thinking about it was dangerous.
Right.
All right, so yeah, we are swole with goods. Are we? I guess he was gonna ask you. Are we done shopping for this evening, or are we?
You guys were on the way out of the. You were on the way out of the building, walking back into the streets once you, because you had acquired all the ammunition and weaponry you were going to need, at least for now.
And some cool grenades.
Yeah. That you did. Now, the other aspect of it was that you guys had come to learn a little bit more about your original foe right before the shopping trip. Like it's just referred to as the old one, which is sort of basic and a little cliche, but it seems to be that whatever this entity is the one that's been causing all the trouble, and now has all these three players interconnected for one reason or another, or at least they have some part to play in how this is all unfolding. The girl being one of those elements that isn't quite fully understood yet. I believe that your subcontractor, Ken, the one that was pointed out, actually came back with a lot of information, which is how you kind of came to understand this, because you found out that High Dynamite and I believe it was High Dynamite and Neurodon were in cahoots with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Which they shouldn't be.
No. Yeah, collaboration at that level is extremely dangerous for the wide public, and then some.
That's why we were going shopping, because our current goal is trying to help Silva, and for Silva, we needed Emma, and Memphis is trying to get in contact with Emma. And also,
and he's still working on his ploy to go in as a talent scout of some kind. We don't know what, but that's currently what he's up to. He's going in as a talent scout, investigating her school, and trying to sort of like schmooze it up with a lot of like their staff and everything else, so that he's got a way in that's going to appear at least legal on the face of it, so that way it doesn't create any ripples or waves within like the family or anything else. It's just more important to have that going on. But that kind of leaves you guys with some time, because he's going to have to work it over several days to make sure that everything goes according to plan, because slow and steady, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and that's how he operates.
Let's see.
Which means that you guys have a couple of targets that you can focus on. You have your subcontractor and your own case to work with when it comes to this, like this rig issue, where you have a combat rig with some crazy new technology attached to it, that needs to be dealt with as part of your own situation there, Ken, because I believe your initial contract was to investigate that. Because you only subcontracted out information to find out more about what was happening in the first place.
Right. Well, there's my client I was trying to protect. Like, he'd asked for protection, I think, is what he was wanting. I was just putting in some stats. Cool. All right. Yeah, so we got some options. Options for what to do next. Option 1 is to continue shopping. Option 2 is to follow up with my client.
What was that name of that boutique? Because I know I gave it to you, but for some reason I don't have it. Oh, you know what? Probably
I just read it out to you. It's Willow and the Wind Boutique. It's Sandra Nadine. I'm putting an L for some reason. I typed Nadine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where did I put that stuff? Go me, man. I'm great at putting my own notes down. That's the first time I've actually misplaced them. Anyway, so, yeah, you've got the boutique as some place that you could originally go. It's up to you guys.
Let's see. Well, you said that, let's see. Following up with Hugh's client, there's a third option. I thought you said. Because we're waiting on Emma. We don't have anything to do with Violet De La Rosa at this point.
No, because her apartment's already figured out.
Connection to her gave us the guy.
Memphis, yeah. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're done with her. And then we're waiting on Emma. So I guess the only thing really is the subcontractor / my client.
Right, and the circumstances under which the new alliance is posing a serious threat. Yeah.
Right. Well, the equipment that we found was like the jet booster stuff. I can't remember exactly what
Slip
we called
jets.
it. Slip jets.
Yeah. It allows this thing to move at incredibly fast speeds, and it's extremely lethal. Especially if it decides to use its whole body as the weapon.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. The way you described it makes it sound like it kind of ignores inertia. Like they're able to accelerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of breaks the laws of physics. It ignores inertia, creates a field around itself, but it's only going to go short distances, or at least something within maybe 100 meters from where it originally stood. But that's more than enough to create just raw devastation. You don't know exactly what the, recharge payload or any of that goes with these rigs. You do know you've seen one at work and managed to chase it off, but that was only because Malcolm was in the hallway swinging sword and making Scottish curses.
That's what he does. I mean, you do what you're good at.
Right. If you're good, never do it for free.
I mean, we we could take a look at the boutique, right?
At the what?
At the boutique. I mean, because the Gods and Guns past the ammunition guy basically gave you the recommendation, so can't hurt.
I'm thinking that'd be. We're already in the shopping mood.
And mainly because we're still waiting on information to kind of come back, so we're kind of in that preparatory phase to begin with.
Yeah. So it's up to you. What y'all doing?
Well,
I'm just watching the show.
Malcolm just kind of looks at Hugh and says, "All right, Hugh, you've got the weaponry. Now, do you feel particularly safe? You're rather hazard prone."
He's holding up his armored jacket and is like, "This isn't good enough."
He just kind of looks at Barnaby and goes, "I mean, we can't exactly put him in a full suit of armor or lock him in a steel box, can we?"
Well, there's a few other problems that we're going to be dealing with here. We've got, well, let's see. We have one unknown enemy we don't really know anything about other than a name. They're apparently so nefariously strong and terrible that it requires a young girl with abilities none of us have seen yet to be, how we find anything about this individual. And they seem to be on the deep side of a lot of these problems and have a lot of connections and power, etc. So go.
Alright. Alright, children, to the boutique. And he just kind of ushers with his hands.
Yeah, well, and I'm hoping that maybe they've got something similar to what we found, and maybe that what you guys found in the marketplace too, because we could probably use a little reinforcement that's in the technological area, if you know what I mean.
And he just kind of exposes his one, like, arm that has no more armor on it and says, yeah, I mean, even I have had, certain reconsiderations as to my own protection.
He just kind of nods to you, puts a cigarette in his mouth, just kind of like a sagely looking like head bob, and then lights his cigarette just looking at you. So
Let's go.
all right, you guys take a jumper, rounder. What you up to? Just heading there by vehicle, eh?
How far, when I input it into Google Maps, how far does it take us?
Well, Guugle. Anyway, in this case, whenever you're looking at it, you know, distance by jumper is going to cut it down by maybe 25 minutes, but it's roughly, you're looking at maybe 40, 45 minutes or so when it's coming to being on ground. It's not terribly far from where you are, only because of the fact, and this probably makes sense, because the Hammer of God munitions is, you know, going to stay sort of close to some of these other industries. The area seems to be prolific in them. It's the perfect part of town.
I'd say we just spend a lot of money, so maybe take the grounder. The price is a little less expensive.
Yeah, no, it's less expensive, but it's also, you know, just a little longer, that's all. I mean, you just wave it. I mean, it's one of those, like, you just basically call it with your smart brace. You just sort of like, hey, pick up for this many. And there's a grounder vehicle that shows up maybe 5-6 minutes after that. And you can see the rig on the inside. It's just got this kind of, it's got a human-esque style face to it. It's just kind of, but it's flat, doesn't move. But it just turns, it like turns to its left as you guys are on the street. The wing door opens up and you guys can all climb in. And it just turns its head and goes, where to?
I'm gonna give the address to well, I guess I wouldn't even give the address to, I would say, we're going to Willow and Win Boutique, please.
Can do, sir. Please buckle up. Like that, and just rolls forward as you guys are moving through, which normally you guys don't actually take a lot of grounders these days. Most of it's through jumper. But I mean, you get to
Don't. It's
roll.
weird. Danny's gonna be looking out the window like, whoa.
Well,
Like the opposite.
I just imagine that there's like a light rain, and all the neon lights are like making everything reflective, and it's just a vibe.
The midnight is playing somehow.
Yeah. If only I could play that now without it getting blocked. I love the
Well.
midnight.
Okay, so for while we're driving,
That's when you can do your bag of holding. You can try doing some magic in the car.
Well, he's gonna mess around with some stuff because you guys are talking armor, and he has armor on, but it's like discreet armor, and so he's like, I wonder if I could use one of my other spells to make like force armor.
You can test it on Malcolm. Like he doesn't. He's been. Danny has used his magic to try healing Hugh before, so he's not wanting to like be a guinea pig on this one.
And Malcolm just kind of looks at Hugh going, why would you ever say something so daft?
You've got Barnaby.
I thought you weren't listening.
Like, yeah, Barnaby's just sitting in the corner. He's like, I mean, you do regenerate.
Well, he's just gonna cast it on himself.
Oh no.
He's just gonna wing it. So I'm looking at the.
So Danny's
the
in his
glyphs.
experimentation phase.
I'm thinking evocation, physics, and dimensions. The goal of creating like, basically like a layer around me that would stop kinetic, blast.
Right.
Like hardening the air around me or whatever. So he can still move and be all flexible and everything, but he can still breathe.
Right. Yeah, you just basically create it to where it would literally, respond to you in the sense that when it was active, it would just create a kinetic field of energy probably in the forward direction of wherever you're facing, because it could be totally encompassing as well. But I mean, you could just
Yeah.
do that, and it would absorb a certain amount of like damage from things that are like projectiles and weapons. That makes sense.
The slow blade penetrates the shield, sort of.
Oh, you're talking like the Dune weapons or shields, or like
Yeah. Oh, but that scene where it's like drilling in, like getting closer and
so
closer.
their weapons are made for the shields.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Okay.
I can tell you right now, that is my oldest nightmare. It's like, oh, a needle, it's slowly going to go into my pack, and I can't stop it.
That's why I don't like hummingbirds in general. Because they're sentient needles. And like obviously it wouldn't be in the
Their tongue
hummingbird's
is the one that
interest.
like wraps around their brain too.
But like the idea that it could like choose to
And
fly
the fact
into
that
my
they're
eyeball.
territorial.
They're territorial.
Okay.
Oh, highly territorial.
What would I roll for this? What's the target number?
You said you were basing it off a spell you already knew? Which one?
I was thinking of basing it a little bit on repel, where
Yeah.
I have a force that pushes outward, but just having it not be actually pushing,
Like Mistborn.
just having that like barrier that it would create.
Right.
This is how I'm in game justifying it for Danny.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. I'll actually give you a target 7 for that, because to me that's just... You're creating a counterkinetic field. Perfect. All you're doing is changing some of the various
Newton's
properties.
first law.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that would work against me. We'll
It
say
would.
equal
Second
opposite
law.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, second law. I don't need an object in motion to stay in motion, as it just bounces me around.
I
the
got
house.
this! Bam! Extra damage all the way through. Whoops!
Wait, wrong law. Okay. 7. What's the threshold?
Threshold will actually just be a 1 right now. You're kind of not in enough space.
just
That's gonna be
futzing
an
with
issue. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're
I
gonna
have
shoot a
rank
bullet at,
5
uh,
evocation.
Danny's talking to Malcolm. He's like, "So who's gonna shoot at Danny to see if this works?"
How about we don't shoot?
He was
and you
joking.
take- and he goes, and you take your fist or the back of your hand, and you give him a little tap.
Oh, okay. Who gets that? Who gets that pleasure? Rock, paper, scissors.
It's so funny
Not
because you're like, who's the one who gets to shoot Danny then? And Barnaby was like
Wait,
opening
no, it
his
is
coat.
successful.
He's just like, oh. Like, that's...
I got 1 success, so I met the
Yeah,
target and
Okay.
the threshold.
that you did. Yep. You got
So
a
I'm
exploder, too.
envisioning that I'm just like looking at my hands and like poking myself and like, what if I could just like roll and then a blue, head to toe shimmer, and then I'm gonna
Yep.
go. I think it worked. Ken, shoot me! I can't. What am I gonna say? Hugh, try it out.
Well, I think this is that I'm gonna look at Malcolm and it's like I'm giving you the opportunity to backhand him.
Malcolm just reaches over to slap him in the back of the head.
What's your spell power, by the way?
My spell power is 12.
Damn. Okay, so the way that, like I said, the way that this works too is that instead of being multiplicative, it's just additive. But in this case, it's 1 success plus that. So you can absorb 13 damage, and your body's what?
10.
10? Okay, you could literally wallop him full strength, and it wouldn't go through.
He's not gonna wallop him full strength.
That'd be hilarious,
I'm
though. He's
not
just like,
Not in front
like
of-
that goes right out the door, you know?
I'm not immune from physics as I go flying, but I take no damage.
That'd be really
right,
good
so
in those slapping competitions.
What is it, like a quarter, like a third of your strength, quarter of it?
Yeah, he doesn't want to, because he's scared that the spell didn't work.
Right.
And that
Right.
his hand is gonna go straight through
What I
his
actually
head.
did was make a sparkle spell that just made my body shimmer. Didn't actually do any protection.
Yeah, we're gonna call it glamtastic. Anyway, so
There you go.
yeah, you do like your 1/3, like you just slap him on the shoulder. It's that kind of like over egregious gratitude is more or less what you're going for. But when you make impact, it stops maybe a half inch off the body and creates a blue sort of rippling field around him. Whenever that goes off, you don't feel like hard impact. It's almost like you hit into a bunch of pillows. So you're like that, and just gives this like
ballistics gel.
Yeah, it's just like that. So it's but it's soft and it's almost cottony in the way that it actually makes that impact, because it just saps the kinetic force out of your hand. So instead of like being an abrupt end, it just completely, it's like hitting the brakes really quickly.
It says, "Well, I'm satisfied." You see him struggle for a moment.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, and then Barnaby's like, "Nice. Are you able to like keep that going?"
Well, so I was thinking I could have it as like a concentration.
Yeah.
That would just keep
All
it up.
evocation works the same way. If you want to keep it active, you basically you cut off the die, and you're going to assume that you keep it running. Yeah. So you've got a field around you that absorbs 13 damage until you drop concentration on it.
I think I can. It seemed pretty simple. I can just hold it there, as long as I'm not knocked out.
Do this.
Or overwhelmed.
He just like holds up his hands like, "Here, do this." All right, and then he comes in. He does a full-blown, full-powered slap, like he's giving you the worst high five ever, and he just goes "What?" like that. But you don't hear any clap sounds or nothing. That same blue field just hears like like that, and it kind of wobbles in the whole like area of the cab of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, that didn't even hurt me."
Okay, so there's the limit. Whew.
Malcolm's like, he's moving his hand like this. Are you showed? I mean, I gave you a light tap. We can test its limits if you like.
Barnaby like leans over. He's like, "Dead leg."
Is that where you hit the
And then he just his fist.
Yeah.
And smacks like Danny right in the thigh. Full strength.
Yeah, so I'll say that one breaks his concentration.
Yeah, well, only because of the fact that you actually stop it. So you go, you can hear that same like that as it bounces around on the inside of the cab of the vehicle. Again, really bright flash. You felt the kinetic tension in your head, because you're able to tell the strength between the two. But like Malcolm is much more powerful than Barnaby on that front. Like, but that full strength impact, you're like, ugh, like that, because but you don't feel any pain or anything, but it repelled it.
Okay, we're good. That's a good test run. Good experiments, everybody. I'm glad I did not have you shoot me.
I'm actually kind of enjoying this game. Barnaby, shoot him.
I like how
Which he ends up just laughing.
Malcolm's like, "This is the greatest gift you could have given me."
It turned him into one of those dummies that I can punch, and it keeps getting back up.
All right, so I'll put that down as using, I don't know, the physics glyph.
Yeah, you're just kind of pushing through using quantum for it, but yeah.
Yeah, the quantum domain.
The
domain. We're looking at the words that we learned.
Yep.
We talked about a few days ago.
Yeah, and that's because, like I said,
that was literally earlier this week. Like that was.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's only threshold one as well, by the way, because of the fact that you were only using a single domain to incorporate what you were doing, regardless. Because the threshold would bounce up if you kept using more.
Right, like if he made it so that if someone attacked, that it would.
Well, if you think like what
what
do you call it? Like Diablo. Like if he had 2 effects attached to it, you could easily say that there would have been a 2 threshold. Like he's like, not only do I want it to stop that damage, I want it to reflect half back, and that would have been a secondary effect. That would have bounced it up.
That makes sense.
That was exactly how I was hoping it would work. Was have a desired effect, describe it using the domains, and then figure out threshold
targets
and
and
target.
thresholds and stuff. Yeah.
And it's improvised
So,
spellcasting, maybe. Plus I have a
or-
bonus to improvised spellcasting.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Q's
my...
musing at this point. He's like, Danny, are you able to project that field? Or is it only on your own body? Is that how that... like he's asking Danny if like what you did is something that you can only concentrate on yourself, or could you put it like make a wall basically if you wanted, like a shield.
Like a wall of force or something.
Yeah. So like what if like okay, well, I mean the best way to think about this is in Destiny 2, the barricade. Like I can see through and no kinetic force can go through it. Like a wall. Can you project it?
Probably not in the car.
As he projects it, and the car goes crash.
Just abrupt stop.
But I mean, yeah, I'm getting more comfortable trying this stuff, and now Brendan's not around to tell me not to.
Well, early on, he kind of had a point.
It was one hag,
One bog witch.
one bog witch, dealt with easily.
Oh,
Because we had
because
Malcolm
you
with us.
dealt with it.
Either way, we're not digging up the past around here. I'm just saying it was a wise choice, and you've gotten better.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh
But
look,
yeah,
we're
maybe,
about to arrive.
Maybe.
I thought that what D was holding just then, that little USB drive, that he was going to eat it. It looked like he was about to just pop it in his mouth.
Yeah, you know, like it's actually a
It's
security key. So
it's a
I don't want to do that.
Bite.
Like he would bite.
Didn't they come up with something smaller than bytes and called it nibbles? Something like that.
Bits. Right?
It was smaller than bits, and then they said nibbles were like a smaller delineation of that.
So what's this boutique look like?
You know how boutiques look. Hold on. Okay, so after the experimentation, and you know, somebody has to shell out the, the 28 credits that necessary to get to where you were. But as it is, you get out, and the boutique seems to be on the third floor of some part of this sort of megaplex that, has various other businesses and things in it. The floor for this is probably as wide as, like the ground floor rather, is about as wide as any standard super block. So it's like this ultra mall. And when you go walking into it, there's still crowds of people, and you move up through the elevator to the upper third floor, and there is a boutique located inside this major complex, more towards its center. You have a number of people that are kind of in and moving around. The boutique doesn't seem to be getting a great deal of attention. What is happening in our OOC chat? What?
It's a stream of consciousness. Yeah,
No kidding. What is this weird creature that's being...
That's Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime.
Not familiar with that one.
Pokemon.
Now I'm sure I'll have nightmares.
Well, it's lore. Those little things that look like a hat. That's actually like flesh growths from its head. They're not. It's not hair.
No.
That makes it worse.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Even worse, he was dating Nash's mom.
Yep. They actually have a penchant if you slight them, they'll go home and like steal your wife. Anyway.
Interesting.
So we're at the mall.
Yeah, well, you're at a larger sort of market complex for it, but the I don't know what to think about that thing.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
So the boutique, it's got the name in front, it's got that holographic kind of signage to it. Of course, a lot of the area in and through here, it has, your typical, police rigs and things like that kind of standing in and around as they're kind of monitoring the situation. No more mall cops, literal cops, but automated variations of the same thing. And when you walk in, the double doors open up for you, and it's different. It carries with it that sense, like, Danny, you're immediately aware of the fact that this place has got something attached to it that is not in the level of mundane. So it's not just, herbs and so on. It does have a variety of different kinds of goods, all the way from various levels of incense. There are herbal teas and things like that are present here. There are also sort of the typical, almost like what would have been considered today to be like neo-paganistic type things. It's actually now just considered, just standard paganistic type accoutrement. So you have like manufactured wands and so on. A lot of the stuff seems to be sort of, woo-woo and froofy and all that other junk, but there is something here that's legitimate. And there's a woman who's standing at the back counter who's interacting with a group of people. It looks like maybe 2 teenage girls and some mother who's just kind of having a discussion about something. And it's not really clear what, but they walk away, and it seems that the mother and the 2 girls are pretty pleased with whatever they have. They stuff it into a sack and leave. They acknowledge you as you guys come in, but, the store is mostly empty besides that. And it's wide open, there's no carpet in here, and it's kind of low lit, a little dimmer. And there's that really, powerful smell of incense and herb that's all over the place. And the woman that's on the other side of the counter is, well, different. She's maybe about 5'8", 5'9", something in that, something like right there, and kind of skinny. She's got the cross, the top that just goes across the top with the belly exposed, and then those kinds of like tighter pants, almost punky grunge type look. And she's got the shorter, mussed-up hair, but she's got that dark makeup, too, that kind of points to all the, maybe a centuries-old kind of goth and trying to bring it back, but is definitely pulling it off pretty okay. And she gives you guys a white-toothed grin as you walk in, and she's like, well, I have to say I haven't seen anybody like you before. What brings you in? Referral? Recommendation?
Both. Hey, Hugh Man here. Comes in with his usual.
And she's like, Hugh Man? Really?
At your service.
Oh, damn. You've got to be kidding me.
God, I love AI.
Oh, okay. I was like, no frickin' way.
I generated that for you all based on the description you gave me.
Yeah.
It's a boot.
Yeah, it's
I
a
probably
bouquet.
should have said no clothes.
No, that might have produced something else.
Well, doesn't it sell armor? That's just fashionable armor.
That's true.
Well, yeah, but she's just like, okay, all right, Hugh. She reaches
Are
over and
you
shakes your hand.
Sundara Nadine?
Say again.
I'm reading what I wrote, so I probably said it wrong. But
Can you put it in chat so I can see what it looks like?
this is. Oh my god! Why is it doing that way?
Are you sardine?
Are you sardine?
Oh, no wonder. I forget that you have issues with reading names. Yeah, and she's like, you mean Shadra?
That's what I said.
Yeah, but
what you
again,
would've said.
Shadra,
got
like
the
it was
name
so
wrong.
garbled.
Are you Aaron?
Hey, wrong.
Nice.
You done fucked up now. Hey, wrong.
Mr.
Yeah.
Oshak Hennessy.
Oh, Shaq Hennessy.
So
But no.
he's asking if she is that lady, that name.
Right, she's just sort of like, well, no, she's my boss, because, she just kind of looks down and is like, I don't really come from India, but I still have the ability to sell you what you might be looking for. Why?
Hugh turns to Malcolm because you're the smooth talker in this kind of situation.
What my socially challenged friend is trying to communicate is that there are certain garments of protection or items that are needed.
Pretty broad.
Aye.
you're going to have to narrow it down, because protection can mean all kinds of things. Physical, spiritual, from
We need as much as we
the
can get.
unnatural.
We're
Or
the
if you
folks
want
that
something
we're
that's-
dealing with. Yeah.
well, she's just like laughs a little bit and goes around and goes around the counter. She's like looking at everybody's like, there's obviously some talent, and she just kind of looks at Malcolm up and down. It's like an anomaly, but more than anything else, I mean, if you got sent here, you were sent here by who?
The Hammer of God. Stephen was his name.
And she gives you an address like that, Stephen?
Is that the correct address?
Well, in this case, it is not the correct address, but she seems to be, completely sincere when providing it.
I type it in the not calendar, but the map, and it's like, I don't know. And then he shows her on the map. Has things like, see, he turns it around. This is where we were.
Is
Right,
the
she's-
praise God and pass the ammunition guy?
Yeah, she's just sort of like, good. Then he actually did send you. Just a little test. I don't always trust somebody just because they say they've been sent by somebody else. So, you need protection from, what, an act of God, everything? Like, so you're going to have to narrow this down.
Malcolm's just, he's actually looking at items, kind
Yeah.
of disinterested in the conversation. He goes, Hugh is an act of God.
Thank you, Malcolm. He's totally sincere.
And then he just kind of looks over his shoulder. That was not a compliment.
Well,
Sounds like
either
Barnaby.
way, Barnaby just, like, comes around the side where Hugh's standing and just like, okay, look. To be perfectly honest, we're dealing with things that can do a lot of harm really quickly, and we're going to need something that can help us protect our own flesh and blood from, other anomalies that aren't so anomalous, that have a tendency to, like, not just eat animals, and or other things that have powers that kind of push past the realm of imagination. Just,
In other words,
we're not really sure is the actual answer, but something that's on a generous level that can offer some kind of protection against the supernatural. That would be quite nice, if you don't mind. She just nods her head. She's like, okay, I can work with that. And there's 4 of you? Anyone else that's not present?
Aye. It would just be us.
Ah,
And if you need more specifics, things that can harm someone like me. As you can see, and he just kind of gestures at like the armor he has. This was specially crafted for me. And yet, it did me no good when it took my arm.
well, that's kind of the way the defenses sometimes work. It can't be a perfect protection, now can it? Otherwise, there wouldn't be a business. To do it. Nobody would buy. They'd just do whatever worked. But, well, okay. I mean, there's options. I have less expensive options, things that are kind of more temporary. And then I have other options that are more expensive. What exactly are we working here with a budget?
I think at this point everyone turns to. I think Barnaby was the one who put it on his credit card last time.
I guess Barnaby's tapping in his 401k at this point.
What is our budget, Mr. Man? Or
He's
Barnaby,
like,
I mean.
let's kind of start in the middle, shall we? Because we can always work our way down. I just need to know kind of what you might have. She's like, all right. Well,
And he's gonna just like to Hugh, be like, I have $5,000 if we need more, and he won't let us.
so you walk over to the counter, and she comes over to where she's on the other side, and of course, like I said, most of the surfaces anywhere are going to be somewhat interactive or holographically capable. But she starts pulling over what looks to be like almost an itemized inventory line, scrolls it along, and you can see the little holographic imagery kind of passing by on the top of the counter. She's like, oh, no, oh. She looks at Danny, then back to Malcolm. She's like, it'll be hard to fit, like that, and keeps like moving inside. She's like, okay, well, this is kind of our middle ground here. When she like slows it down, it's like, we got multiple pieces that can do a good amount of body coverage, and they've been properly warded by somebody with talent. It'll kind of help you against anything that uses, well, something like magic, more or less. It's easily protected against things like that, and more resistant to things that are considered supernatural, like looking over Barnaby. It's not perfect, but it's middle ground pricing. And these have to be made kind of individually. They don't come by easily. So the prices are going to be a little steeper than other things. And if you're looking for just straight armor, that's what I have.
Is there anything that I can wear under this? Because he's pointing out the armored and stuff. Like, I already have some good. I got this from the marketplace, so I don't want to lose this.
Yeah, well, what exactly is that good against?
Kinetic damage.
Does it have any specific wording attached to it? Out of character.
It's an armored trench coat. That's all it was.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So in other words, it's just mundane. It's just mundane, high quality mundane.
Yeah, very high quality.
Yeah. So she's like, I mean, you've got that. I mean, that'll probably take care of most of your standard threats. Some of the more nasty ones with claws and things like that, I suppose, might be a little harder on that one. But I have a few things like pendants and bracelets that have certain charms attached to them. And again, these are all made here, and like I said, anything that goes in the permanent area, you want something that's high quality. Costs a little more, that's all. I've got some stuff that'll last you a little while. That's much cheaper.
What? I mean, I don't know what to say. Out of character, I don't know what to say. Like,
what do you want out of character for this guy? Like, what if you had a moderately sized budget? What would you want him to get? What would you want protection against?
I feel like what he would want is he already feels like the trench coat, because Malcolm was the one that said he's not good enough. Like, he didn't have enough protection, right? So I feel like anything to protect his head, but doesn't require him to, like, lose his sight and stuff, because he doesn't want to have just a helmet, right? And something that could protect his back, because he uses his own reflexes to ward off damage. Because that's what he's good at, is dodging, right? So anything... Yeah.
Well,
but I mean that's what he's learned, right? His reflexes are good enough that he's able to, as long as he can see a threat, he should be able to, like, assess it. The threats behind him he can't see, right? And I don't want something that's going to block my vision, but I'd like to make sure that if something does strike my head, that it's not like some magical force. Does that make sense?
Well, it doesn't in a way. I mean, you're already pretty much as protected as you can get in terms of the mundane or kinetic energy stuff. Like, you've got standard high-quality armor. That part's fine.
Yeah.
What you really don't have protection against is if somebody threw a lightning bolt at you. You don't have protection for that. Nothing.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm looking for. Like I guess magical force. Like, I feel like I can handle anything mundane, but I need something that will stop.
What's the actual quality? Like, what's your protection and bonus for your for the armor that you have? Because did you already upgrade it with the dice setup?
Huh?
No, I'm pretty sure none of us have the new style of armor mechanic.
Yeah, I just have I have 5 natural armor, and then right now my left arm, left leg, right arm, right leg has 20 armor, but I don't think that plays.
What happened to your torso?
My torso has.
It's a Jopen jacket.
But you can still seal it.
He's just flexing his.
He's just wearing sleeves and, like, strange non-connected pants. Like,
I don't know, for whatever reason my torso says 4 armor.
Do you have something on underneath? Maybe.
No.
No,
Snake
okay,
the
so we're going to
trench
assume that your trench coat is 20 from torso down, that it covers your limbs and your torso. We're just going to assume that that's what that is. But in this case, it's not. It's no longer like 20 like that anymore. So the protection is just a die roll instead, and 20 is
The 1d8
really
plus
high,
9.
huh?
Is that the 1d8 plus 9? Because I'd written that down
Where?
in my total for torso.
Oh, so yes, 1d8 plus 9. That's really high too.
Good armor.
Yeah. So it'd be 1d8 plus 9 for all your torso and limbs. That would be the mechanic that we're going with here. That's what it was replaced with. No wonder it says 4.
I don't know why my integrity is at 52%.
So that was the idea of not that it's been depleted down to 52, but that represented like your chance of the armor like staying together
Yeah.
while
Being
being
damaged, yeah.
blasted. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty then. So
So yeah,
Yeah,
so he
you've
was
got
gonna
high
basically
quality
say, he's
armor.
like, yeah, I want to protect myself from magical threats. I'm good against any, not good, but I feel like I can handle myself from anything else.
okay. Well, I've got a couple of charms that might actually do you well. Let's see. She goes and swivels through. She's like, this one here is a pendant, and she like moves to the next one, and she's like, do you happen to have pierced ears?
No.
She just like rolls back to the pendant again. She's like, well, like, how about this one? It's a pendant that should actually stop a fair amount of, like, incoming magical spell work. Kind of makes it difficult for spells to manifest upon you.
Hugh gets like a thoughtful, is that anyone? Including
Just
my
you.
allies?
You're the one who's wearing it.
No, I mean, does it, well, what I'm asking is, does it stop literally any magic, including good magic, like if someone's trying to heal me or something?
She's like,
Can Danny
he's
like look at it?
she's like, well, not really much of a. There's no real good or bad magic, but you know, as far as the way that it goes, it doesn't oppose the laws under which magic is created or used. It still holds to that, but it does stop things from being, well, directly traumatic. It puts a little barrier between you and them.
Okay.
It's a protective charm against the magical spell workings of people who wish to do you harm.
That sounds good to me.
All right.
We can test it out later.
Yeah. He steps back and is like, Malcolm?
She's like,
Right.
that'll cost $17.50, by the way. And she like looks over at Malcolm. She's like, and what can I do for you?
I haven't had a chance to repair to my arm. And he just kind of indicates his right arm. And says, so, I am lacking in the head and the left arm department. His base armor is 24, and armor roll is D10 plus 7.
So he just wants the equipment itself repaired. Did it have a ward on it, you said, or no?
No, it did not. It was just basically modern plate.
Modern plate, okay. But it was, again, just high quality mundane armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, I suppose I could use some magical protection.
She nods her head.
I
She's like, what about
suppose.
you? Have you got pierced ears?
I can pierce them.
She just kind of like frowns, is like, all right. Well, this one will also help in that department. I've heard that it's actually exceptionally good. Makes it more difficult for spells to actually be used against you. I don't understand the exact framework for it, but it is good.
Aye. Well. So, what does it do?
Mechanically
I mean,
speaking, when somebody is trying to cast a magical spell against you specifically, like if they target a spell at you, they end up getting a +1 to their threshold regardless of whatever it is they're doing. It basically just creates resistance against the spell working.
That's cool.
Okay, so +1 to targeted spell threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What was Hugh's?
Yours will actually absorb a total of 12 damage. Whenever a damaging spell is thrown your way, it'll just take 12 off the top, whatever it is.
Every instance of spell damage, or is it like in a fight?
If you
it's
are
12
hit
and
with
then
a
it's-
successful magical strike, if it does anything less than 12 damage, you'll absorb it.
So like if
And
I
then-
throw 3 darts at you that do 5 damage each, it'll just absorb. It won't overwhelm.
accumulate. That's what I was trying to get at. Is like, is it like in a encounter? Is it 12 damage total or 12 damage per instance of damage?
Yeah, it's 12 damage.
Okay,
So if they do 15 damage, you take 3.
but then the next time damage comes in, it doesn't block anything, right?
Well, in one sitting, if you take 20 damage, you took 8. If you take 15 damage, you take 3. If you take 12 damage and it rotates around, then it would absorb it. Then it would go back
So what I'm hearing is per encounter, I get 12 damage to absorb.
per turn, or something to that effect. It basically absorbs damage whenever you're the target of an attack. If the attack doesn't
Okay.
supersede the 12, it absorbs it.
Okay. So it is per instance of damage coming at it. Got it. Per. Thank you.
Thankfully,
So-
Danny can beat that. So if I have to.
So yeah, speaking of, like, now Malcolm's got he's got his piercing. We grab Danny and it's like, okay, this boy needs to live. Give him,
And he happens to be more of a hazard to himself than anything else.
yeah, we don't want anything that will stop magical forces because he's the one who can actually do that. So more, do you have anything that can protect him from more mundane stuff? We don't want a stray bullet piercing
He's
his
like,
cute little skull.
If you're looking for mundane protections, you already left the place that gives it.
Yeah, I'm good.
And Barnaby.
And Barnaby just kind of turns around. He's like got his hands kind of smelling something from out of the back. He's like, and he's just like, and Barnaby's just like, I don't have pierced ears.
It's like, that's not the point. It's like, what do you feel like you need?
He's just sort of like, personally, just anything at all that can kind of help me out with. Well, I don't really know exactly what's going on with all this stuff. I mean, do you have something that's more like a shirt, maybe? Or, I mean, I've kind of worn the same armored outfit for forever. Maybe something that's a bit more can cover over the top, like a jacket or something that's got qualities like what they've got going on. She's like, yep, like I said. She like wheels it back to where you can see some of the more, elaborate looking articles of clothes. He's like, all right, how about that one? That's a good 3/4 length jacket right there. That actually fit with a lot of what I've got anyway. And she's like, all right. She's like, this one apparently has been warded in just such a way that, well, let's put it this way. It's capable of stopping some pretty devastating effects. It's a little unreliable, but it does it. He's like, how much? And she's like, 8,900. He's like, 8,900? Christ. She's like, waves her hands like, these things are rare. They're all artifacts, every last one of them. What's this?
The warding on his armor.
Yeah.
60% of the time, it works every time.
The Sex Panther.
It smells
Right,
like
so
cat
he's like, all right, yeah, this is the last time I take you kids out to McDonald's. And he just goes over and ends up paying out with everything that's going to go through. And he's just kind of like, you can see the spiritual tear going down his eyes. He's like watching the money just sink out of his credit. out of his account, and he's just like pulls his hand back. He's like, "Thank you."
All right.
And she does. She goes back and brings him back a rather stylish, modern-looking jacket, and it seems to fit pretty okay. And he holds it out. It's like, oh yeah, and like he just like holds it like fits right over the clothes too. I like it.
It looks
She's-
good too.
Yeah, it's like lapel. Yeah, I look like a professional again. He was like, oh, 5 o'clock shadow's got to go. He's looking at the mirror that's behind the counter there. He's like, oh God, when was the last time I've showered properly?
I got that stank.
It's that sex cancer.
It really seals the flavor in.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
really seals in the flavor.
Oh, Bane in Kite Man is amazing.
Oh, beyond amazing.
So, yeah, he's just sort of like, all right, I'm happy with this, I guess. And out of character, his has got the old-fashioned classic warding attached to it, which is a percentage, which means that if he meets it or rolls under it, the spell just dissipates for, zero treatment counters out.
All right, so we're geared up.
Yeah, I think our next, well, probably next day, because Hugh needs to live on normal people's hours to do things, because this is like the middle of the night right now. So we need for me to contact my client.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you guys have now shopped to your heart's content. Everybody seems to have some little bit of magical protection that seems to be available to them. And here we go. So you're going to go where
let's
now?
Go back and crash.
Okay.
I'm gonna, once we break off, I'm gonna go back to my office and sleep for a little bit, and then at 8 in the morning, wake up and call my client. I can't remember his name right now.
We'll meet you at the Waffle House.
The Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. All right.
Let's see. So I tried looking through my notes, and I don't have a lot on the client right now because I just didn't see it. Do you recall his name?
I'd have to look it back up again. The client, it should be attached to some of the stuff that you already knew when you were digging around for your subcontractor.
Right. I'm looking. A second. Not Wallaby.
42 Wallaby Way.
Nope. Let's see. Okay, this is right before we decided to talk to Violet Della Rosa. Talk to. See, a name that I highlighted was Deckard Williams, but I don't think that's our guy.
How long ago was that note made?
That was in April.
Yeah, that's a bit far back. Too far back.
So we were doing research, which is, let's see, we got a call from Sebastian, and that's when they showed up with Memphis.
That was before that.
Yeah, it was before that. So, let's see. I think I've got to look in my. I may have written this down in the one or the loop.
Probably.
Oh yeah, you were playing with Loop.
Loop de loop. Well, either way, you're gonna go and while you're searching for this, your client and the rest of that, you were gonna do what about it?
I'm gonna call him and get him into the office to just figure out an episode.
You can continue to research, and what you'll do is you'll give him a ring, because I remember him being a man of his mid to late 30s, slightly grayed hair. He was older in that mentality and personality. He also wore a nice suit. It looked like he was, quasi-wealthy. But, yeah, so you basically call him up, ask him to come to your office. He tells you that it's a little late, but, of course, you have information you wouldn't want to share over the phone, so he obliges and shows up in the middle of the night. It's only about an hour or so later, after the phone call, when he finally appears at the door. He steps on the inside wearing a gray suit that looks like it was properly tailored. He's a little disheveled, but well-dressed nonetheless. And steps into your office, kind of adjusting his shirt and jacket. He's like, "You have information for me?"
Maybe. No, he didn't say that. But you're wondering why I
Maybe.
called you here.
You're like, "Hot dog?"
If you guys have never seen the riff tracks for The Happening, very funny.
Hot dog.
Oh, no, do you know what riff tracks are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
MST3K, baby. Baby.
MST3K.
Yeah. So anyway, like he said, it's like, "You have information for me?"
Sorry, I'm still looking through my notes. I'll have to look for it later. It's like, yes. The people who attacked us the other day is using a new technology that's being co-developed by Neodyne, or Hide Dynamat, and what's that?
Neurodyne.
Neurodyne and Hide Dynamat. It's fairly advanced stuff. Thought you'd want to know.
That it must be something advanced, but you have something more specific that would be of interest to me? It's already critically unpleasant that there would be an alliance of that. What's the proof? You have documentation and things like that that was provided to you by your subcontractor, so it's not like you're just going rah, 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 with nothing to present.
Well, then I'll have my tablet ready, because I'm a professional.
Right. Well, you'll hand him over a slate and just, he's taking a look at it. You're right. This is bad. It would appear that they were able to duplicate much of what I'd already wanted to research in the first place, and implement it on top of that. Given the fact that we already experienced a rather powerful rig that your friend managed to chase off when I was here last. Looks like the repairs were successful, at least. And you still operate out of the same office. Is that courage, or is that something else?
Mostly money.
He just raises both eyebrows, like you basically answered his question, where he's like, "Do you like food?" And you just went brown. Like he can't believe that answer is what popped out of your mouth.
I mean,
It's not the first time, not the last time someone's going to be salty that of my clientele.
He just looks to you and he goes, "You're a very strange man, Hugh.
But I'm at your service."
So it seems. Anything else that you wish to provide me at this time? That's of critical note. Any chance that you'll be able to secure some of this information and pull it away from these individuals, or at least make it more difficult for them to operate?
Would you want a prototype of it, or do you want me to get
Not
one of these
so much a
things?
prototype. I don't have any working or functional models yet myself, but I definitely don't want to be kept behind in the competition. Is there any assets or resources that you might have at your disposal that could help me with that endeavor? Or is that outside of your
It
expertise?
sounds like you'd like me to get you one of these. I think we might be able to manage that.
And he just, again, raises his eyebrows. He's like, "Really?"
Give me 72 hours.
Fair enough. Is that all?
Let's see. Is that all? Is there anything that this guy can do to help us with our mission? Nothing
You're
to
gonna
do with
contract your
Emma.
contractor.
I mean, everyone is useful, right? Like that's Hugh's philosophy. Like, no, that's why he's a hopeless romantic. Everyone's good, like for something. Um, it's like, well, would you like some pie? I'm meeting my friends at the Roadhouse.
In fact, no. It's rather late, and if there's nothing else, I'd actually much rather go home and sleep the rest of the night so I can be ready for tomorrow.
You know, I honest to God don't think I wrote down this guy's name because I found some notes. Is like we're trying to find something with that speed enhancement. This was back in March.
How about you exchange business cards?
What's that?
Exchange business cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I never really learned about the job. Actually, we never talked about it. I got a tablet that told me about the job, but we didn't actually talk about what. There we go. Now we know.
His name is Steve, man. He's your twin brother.
He also is secretly dating Danny DeVito. Let's just go weird with it.
No. Okay. Cool. Well, it's like I'll contact you if if and when I'm able to get you one of these units. So when Hugh comes,
he
back,
stands up and he just kind of like just nods his head. It's like 72 hours then.
that's when you hear back from me, whether or not I'm successful.
Just nods his head.
Oh,
Good hunting then. God, what the fuck? Do I want to know? Uh-huh. Yeah, okay.
don't like that.
You guys really should watch It's Always Sunny.
In
I
Philadelphia.
tried.
I
I tried.
I've never watched an episode fully. It's just not my humor, I guess. Except I love some of the skits, like the whole implication thing. It's like, are we gonna hurt those women? It's like, no, of course not. It's the implication.
Every episode is a standalone. There's no callbacks or references, or you could literally just pick any episode.
Well,
Yeah. Anyway. So
either
when he
way.
walks into the Roadhouse with everybody else, he's like, my family, and he sits down. And he's not talking to them; he's talking to the pie that's sitting ready for him.
Yeah. Oh, no, man. Super Troopers.
Did you? Apparently, they did that for real. Like, I think it was Dee that told me that they actually because the viscosity they couldn't get it right, so they had to do it for real. Like that's vile.
That's so much fucking sugar. Yeah, no kidding, right?
So while he's eating his pie, is like, okay, so while we're waiting for Memphis, our next task is you remember Malcolm, that guy that attacked us with those really fast? Like he attacked us and we couldn't catch up to him at all.
You mean that rig that we heard about that blasted through a door in a stairway?
It was.
Yeah, we need to get one of those.
We need to get one. He's just like looking over at the Malcolm for a minute, looks back, he's like, oh,
Don't
wait,
even
why?
look at me.
It's for my client. He needs one.
Wait, weren't you supposed to be an investigator? When did you become
Lord of War.
Metalhead the bounty hunter? Where is this coming from?
What?
What did
No,
you
I get what my clients need. This is a normal request.
That is true.
Normal.
He has never really specified that he's an investigator. That's how we met him. He was getting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, courier, I guess, but he's just kind of it's like he's shaking his
You an arms dealer?
What? No. Of course not.
He's like, we call them limbs.
He's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then we'd better come into this prepared, because I, for one, am not terribly interested in getting blasted to pieces by a fully functioning combat rig, because I wasn't there, but I do remember the story after the fact.
Was that the story you heard was from the Violet de la Rosa fight? Because that wasn't that rig.
No, it's no, the one that blew a hole in your office hallway.
Fair. So he's gonna send off an email to my subcontractor. And is like, do you know where these are produced? Are you able to find that?
Of course.
So you send that off. You're just sort of like, hey, I need to find and locate where there might be warehousing these rigs. This is going to get very interesting very quickly. And so you send that off as this random email, and you just like you have Barnaby just sitting there like his eyes closed, and he's going like, I can't take it anymore. He just looks over. It's like, dude, and like he just waves it down. There's this like almost companion style rig, like sort of female in its design, just kind of like turns and it's like, yes, and it's like, any chance that you have whiskey, absinthe, drinkable gasoline, anything that might, sort of wash the wrinkles out of my brain. When it just sits there processing for a second, and he goes like, we do have alcoholic beverages. He's like, fantastic. I'll have one of those. And it's just like, it nods its head, and then like waits for a second, and it's like, which one? And he's like, the strongest one. And it just nods its head again and walks away. And it's like,
We have this degreaser that we use in the back.
But he just turns back to the table. He's like, Christ.
And at which point did you think that we have other concerns that are more immediate to get elsewhere sidetracked again?
He's like, well, yeah, of course, but then he lays out and it's like, we're waiting for Memphis for Emma. We have nothing to do with Violet anymore, and I'm in contact with the third person we need to talk to. This is the logical solution. I can keep doing my job as always, and you guys can help.
I'm suddenly reminded of the fact that you strike me as the nicest, but also the most terrifying manager in any industry I've ever worked in. And it's like, always gotta have something to do. It's a checklist. Never ends. He like takes another sip of his coffee. Okay, well, given the fact that I know for sure that we're not going to not do this, I have my responsibilities, indicating Danny Elias as like that I have to take care of in the meantime, and any involvement that I have is going to include him anyway, even if he's not immediately present. But if I'm being honest, I just watched him create something that allows people to literally full-blown dead-leg him with no response. I'm thinking that we're starting to get a little bit more of an edge here. Especially when we're dealing with... And he stops for a minute, he's like... He looks over at Danny and goes... Especially when we're dealing with a rig that uses kinetic energy as its primary R&D element. We could probably stop the thing without destroying it. And he just kind of looks back and is like... Holy shit, we might actually have a plan.
That's what I was playing with physics before.
He just shakes. He's
and
like,
he flexes his wrist because he's got the bracelet on.
Yeah.
And the armor just goes cling, and one of the little gems turns off, and he goes, I can just do it whenever I want. Cling, cling.
he's just
burning
like
through two of them now.
Yeah, but he's just like, yeah. Well, all right. Probably gonna want to keep that thing on hand then, because I'm pretty sure we're not gonna want to screw this part up.
Yeah, we just got to find it.
Yeah, that's the other part. And then you see this drink come across where it's layered. The bottom part is this like yellow amber, and then floating towards the top, it turns into this almost like crystal blue, and it's got a little kind of a weird swirl where the two meet. And he's like, "Thanks." He's like looking at it, it's like, "What is this?" And she's like, "It's called Moonlight Sonata." And it just turns back away. And he's like,
Does he down it?
he just looks at it's in a tumbler, so it's about as thick as a double. So he's just like, oh, fruity. Well, bottoms up like that, and just takes the drink, sets it down, and you can see him just kind of like swallow it in. He's like, oh yeah, that's the kick in the pants I was looking for. Oh, I think it's burning my lungs. How do they have this? They're not even like a club or anything. What is this place?
She probably just like pulled a hose and.
Ew. I hope not. All right. Okay, so turns out we do have an actual plan we can work with, and for once, it's not just running around like chickens with our heads cut off. We've got to find one and then capture it.
Ideally, we'd want to do it while they're down or not functional, so that
Yeah, I can see that being kind of more difficult, because if they're stored somewhere, it would mean us doing the breaking and entering. Although, and he just kind of like looks over at Danny again, it's like, depending on how confident you are about certain things, that also might become slightly easier. Not like you haven't dragged us across multiple, realms?
Well, yeah.
He's like, oh, God, is there any chance you can control that?
I mean,
like they're still hitting them in waves.
I don't know. I did when I surprised you guys during breakfast when we were in that weird Neverland thing. But I think because I knew where I was supposed to go, that I could open the space between. So I don't think I would do it without knowing where I'm supposed to go. But I don't think I need to see where I'm going. I just have to know where I'm going.
Well, if you could see it, would it be easier?
Do we still have contact with that hacker who like saved us from the other hacker?
He's kind of gone dark after his last job for you guys. He's sort of inaccessible.
Okay.
Too much heat.
Well, it's the hacker that got you guys your black tags, and then everything kind of got reversed all of a sudden. And he went way bolt hole after that, because he got into a locked combat, or a locked digital conflict with some other hacker who was doing something similar, and post that situation, is unsure if he was even out of that unscathed. But at the present moment, you don't know what his situation is. He's likely unreachable.
Shame. That would have been helpful to have eyes in the sky like that.
Well, I just burned out all of my liquid assets on everything that everybody's wearing, including Malcolm's new earring. So, I'm kind of down for the count as far as funds are concerned. What do you think we could possibly get for... And he's sort of like, why am I asking you guys? And it's like, maybe we should go digging around in Lowtown and see if somebody can... He's like, you still getting that?
Oh, well, it's back on now that we can use our identities.
Fair enough. Okay, so why don't we scour Lowtown, see if there's somebody who can work for cheap who's got skills. I mean, it's kind of a long shot, but like you said, we don't have anything else better to do. Might as well go looking.
So we need eyes in the sky to help us infiltrate where we need to go. So, yeah, I mean, that's... He's going to bring out his Rolodex. I think I have a connection. I should see if I can contact Radicast. I haven't talked with them in a while.
Yeah. I don't remember if Radicast had a specific tenor voice. Either way, I'm just going to go with it.
Well, I remember that Radicast kind of went dark a while ago when the heat was really getting on us, and we had to I think this is our first bolt hole that we destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, you try his number. Let's see what this. I love physical dice sometimes. All right. A 6 or an 8? Let's see, 6. Okay. Well, not high enough that I would say he wasn't there. But you give him a ring, and it turns out that he picks up on the second ring. He's like, Radicast here.
Man here. How's it going?
Oh God. Hi.
I got a new job.
Oh, are you working at Home Depot?
No, I got a new job from a client, silly.
He's like,
You silly goose.
he's just sort of like, ugh. Anyway, but it's just like, yeah, well, I mean, your last job got me kind of blown up. I mean, granted, it did have a little bit of help, or a little bit of cash attached to it, but honestly, what is with you lately in attracting so much heat all the time?
Oh, you're just being modest. It keeps life interesting. Anyway,
Keep
so
life interesting.
we are looking to acquire some slip jets. I don't know if you've heard about those.
Acquiring
but,
some what?
Here, I'll send you the details. And he just like sends
He's like, wait,
the-
don't send me. Like,
Anyway,
You're being
so
implicated.
I mean that's Hugh for you, right?
yeah,
So it's like anyway, so the information's in your email, but we are looking for someone who can help us safely infiltrate a building. So eyes in the sky, stuff like that. I know you don't do that, but you've helped me in the past find some folks. You think you have anyone in mind?
offhand, nothing comes directly to mind. And he's like, and because of the fact you've decided to implicate me already, these things are state of the art. They're prototypes.
Oh, we've already used. I've already seen them. One of them, one of the guys using it broke down my door. It's very dangerous.
You just kind of hear a long pause for a second, and it's just sort of
A
like,
beat.
yeah, no, it takes a moment. It's almost to where you're almost at the point where, like, are you still there? Just like that half breath right before you ask. He's just like, I gotta know. Are you stupid? Or are you just really smart and hate me?
Oh, no one can hate you, Radicast. You're the best.
Wonderful. Stupid it is. Alright, so I'm just going to say that the circumstances under which you're making these requests are terrifying. What exactly am I going to get out of this mix?
Money.
Fabulous. How much? How much we talking? $20?
What? No, our regular rate. What is our regular rate?
Well, yeah, well, to get that is like, no, regular rate, not this. This is high quality work, and not to mention the fact, extremely dangerous for me in particular. So
You're like
I'm going to say
big
20%, no more than my normal rate, or I say no.
Absolutely.
Shit.
No
I
hesitation.
Yeah, right. He's just sort of like, the fuck didn't I say that before? It's just like, okay, all right. Okay. I will dig into this. I will find out if there's anyone that's possibly got the skills that you're looking for that might be able to, Lord knows, go down to some industry district and or some part of Lowtown that can get you the shots and surveillance you're looking for, because this is crazy. I'm crazy. I'll call you back. Like that, and the line just goes dead.
He's the best. As he like puts his phone back into its holster.
Yeah, and it's like Barnaby's just like leaning back in his chair, kind of like looking like his blinks are a little slower, but he's still just kind of like bringing the coffee to his mouth and drinking a little bit, and he's like, "That sounded tense."
Oh no, that's just normal Radicast. He's great. Like, that implies that every conversation is like that. But that's just normal for you.
Yeah, well, at any rate, he's just like, "Wonderful." Okay,
We
well,
have those.
I guess
He was like, "Do we still have those disguises that we used? Those magical ones? Because I feel like this could be useful here."
he's like,
I can do that.
I was like, I haven't got the faintest idea, but I'm sure that he can come up with some, since he's like Harry Houdini crazy person.
Yeah, I can do that.
Sweet. I think we should get some of those ready because obviously, if we're going to be walking somewhere, we don't want to be known.
Yeah, we could probably run that through, or we've kind of got maybe some other options. Maybe I just try a few like casual disguises. Maybe I don't know. Whatever you guys want to do. Really.
I'm just using whatever we used in the past.
I mean, don't
Ooh,
underestimate the value of a hat and sunglasses.
little Groucho Marx.
A reference far too old for this. All right, so audio coming through?
Oh, the music got like really loud all of a sudden.
It's because I can't hear anything, but that's fine. Yeah, so he's just like, cool.
So I think we were gonna do looking ourselves too, but having someone else looking who knows about this kind of stuff is also always useful.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll probably have to put feet to the road then. Make sure that everything's good to go.
Beat that pavement.
Yeah, I've got a few places, like there's a couple of areas not too far from here, maybe an hour or two, something like that. And we could go in there, because I've heard, only somewhat recently, because it's closer to the penthouse where we used to be. And from what I understand, well, there might be an alienation or two that might be of interest on this one.
Ally Nation? Is that what you said?
No, he's like, no, not ally nations. You know,
Oh,
huge communities of people, not really gangs because they're too friggin' big, but they consider themselves nations. You know, ally nations. They live
Oh, you know
around
what?
some of these super blocks.
while you're looking into that, I think I'm going to look into. He starts pulling up some stuff on his tablet or his wristband. So it's Neurodyne and High Dynamat. Who's the biggest competitors to those guys?
Right now, Dark Sun is the only one that competes against, like, High Dynamat actively and in the open space of public understanding. Like, Dark Sun is actively opposed to High Dynamat a lot.
I think I'm going to try contacting Dark Sun. I'll just call up, John Dark Sun and see if he wants to help us.
Name's John Darkson. I got this job on merit.
No, he doesn't say it like that, but it's like, I think I'll see if maybe someone at Dark Sun wants to help, because I'm sure they would love to they'd be interested to know about this technology.
They might already be, but I mean, I guess many eggs, many baskets. I pretty much figure that we're going to be walking into a part of town that's going to be somewhat unforgiving, a little hostile, that kind of thing. But not towards us. Maybe if we get lucky, we can find someone somewhere who likes to make all these corporate wealthy people kind of suffer and be miserable. On those grounds alone, we might be able to get somebody who would just, I don't know, give us a discount, maybe. Who knows, maybe 5K won't be enough. We'll find out, I guess. That said, he kind of like shakes his head a little bit. I think we probably should get going soon. It's getting to a point now where pushing into the morning. So,
All right, we have our marching orders. I'll let you guys know once my contact gets back to me. Both of them, because I fired off two. Like, I did 2 contacts this night.
alrighty then. So, alright. He basically is going to go into Lowtown, and it's going to be about an hour to 2 hour drive from where he's at now. And he's going to go check out where he's referring to these ally nations, which in this case is like he was saying, it's a larger group of individuals who usually oppose society as a whole, but they're so vast that the police can't do much about them. They're extremely pervasive in certain areas of like deep downtown of much of the city, and they nestle into the crevices and cracks of these super blocks, like he was saying, which is why they're referred to as ally nations, because they literally inhabit all those creases, and they tend to live there and have their own rules. So it's basically a different world altogether.
I'm just imagining like warriors.
Okay, all right. So you're waiting on pending. Is anybody else going with Barnaby at this point? Because he doesn't have a problem with going alone, but he's also going to want some company.
Malcolm will go with Barnaby.
That's great.
He protects the squishies.
I think Danny's gonna stay with Hugh.
Okay.
Intern.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go.
Oh yeah,
back
you're
to the
still
office.
you're still doing the intern thing anyway because you're like
Yeah.
helping him out. No, God no. Why?
No, God, no.
Oh, that's why it's because it was behind space for whatever reason. So they're like, yeah, the drive back is really intense.
Hey, I've heard about this new band, Ashton Mouth. Really love them.
Holy crap! All right. Let's see. So you're going back to the office, Hugh, and we're gonna go check out that area. That's gonna be only a couple of hours down, which puts you closer to Central Park, actually. Malcolm,
cool.
so whenever it comes down to it, you can actually go back to your own living quarters relatively quickly without much trouble.
Cool.
Alrighty then. Let's see. Use Ethan.
So are we in the early morning?
It's getting to the point where it's going to be morning in a few hours, or dawn in a few hours, I should say, specifically.
Well,
But
that's
you're a daywalker now, aren't you?
only for 1 hour.
Yeah. You basically can stave it off until then. Alright, so it wound up being odd, so Malcolm and Barnaby. The trip is easygoing. Light conversation the whole way there. When you arrive at the super block where he's willing to kind of take a look at it, you can hear the thump and beat of just regular music. And there's a lot of people that have interconnected themselves into open booths and stalls, that kind of thing, or just general areas of play. You can tell that there are. You remember what it looked like in the first Ninja Turtles live action film? Whenever you get to see Shredder's home base, it's that level of just not chaotic order. Everybody kind of knows everybody here. It's kind of stashed together. It's got multiple layers because you've got fire escapes where they've created impromptu sky bridges, and they go across from the various parts of the building that they inhabit. And there are dwellings that have been constructed from all manner of material through here, and it just looks insane because you've got all these people. Obviously a lot less clean, but lively. Because you still have people that are carrying the old-fashioned cybernetics, where it's hard metals and not the nanites. There aren't as many police drones or rigs that come through here or in these parts. And like I said, the music is still kind of pounding in the back end. So you've got these groups of people, and when we come walking through, we're pretty much not noticed at first because we're just passing. And unlike what you would get with standard territories, where it may have been gang affiliated, etc., they basically treat it as an open air, almost town. But it's just nestled into the baseline of this super block, and it's pretty expansive. It goes deep inside where you can't, follow it all the way through. But you can see the interlacing lights and all that other stuff. It's very interesting and very high energy here, even at this time of night.
Malcolm just kind of looks around, looks at Barnaby, and says, "Hey, this is different."
Yeah, he just kind of looks around. It's I used to be outside a lot of places just like this, actually, when I was a kid. It's kind of the reason why I wanted to get out, but, it's got its appeal, I suppose. Most people around here kind of help each other out, and the cops don't come in. Well, he kind of looks around. So we got our own cops when you're living in a place like this. And, law is just... Well, it's kind of more story than fact. So, let's go in and see if we can find what we're looking for. He walks you towards the front, the first major alleyway entrance, like I said, compressed together with all of the activity and the people. There's actually a few, almost checkpoints where you guys are kind of looking through because they let people walk and come in and go. You're looking pretty nice, or at least he is. In your case, you're looking more ratted up, so you gotta fit in a little bit more easily with this crowd. And there's like you even see like children along the way kind of doing things and playing games and doing whatever else. There's actually a lesser level of technology to an extent here. You don't see a lot of people with their like a smart brace or other equipment like that. They seem to be just kind of using what's in and around themselves, and the activity is just kind of crazy. Mainly, and like the kids are up. At least they're like maybe in their mid to later teens, but kids to you, because clearly, several hundred years old. But it's obvious that there's something tight knit here, and the smells are insane because you're getting all of that like natural kind of a cooked smell. It sort of throws you back to a time when tribes and things like that would hang together in this way all the time, and it's almost like it's manifested itself in a more maybe a more grim setting, but nonetheless it's manifested itself, and these people seem to be sort of collectively supporting one another despite all of the hardships that they seem to be facing at once. So they've kind of created an alienation. And there it is. So we go filtering through trying to find anybody who might be interested. And there's like markets and stalls and shop owners and things like that. And you can get up to like the upper levels. And this alleyway is actually wide spread apart because, like I said, these super blocks are massive. So where they come in, it just kind of goes through and becomes more labyrinthian as you get inside. And we'll kind of like hold it there, unfortunately, because it's 58 after 9.
Oh yeah. The time has come upon us.
Yes, it has. Finally getting a chance to see some of the underbelly of the city here.
Get up in its innards.
I like it.
Yeah, well, because you guys are usually on top, floating above it all, and that's kind of the way the layering works. Is that if you're wealthy, you don't really see this kind of stuff. That and
Danny would have loved it.
There's a good chance he might wind up there anyway. But yeah.
Okay, so Alley Nations.
Alley Nations. Yep, it's part of the lore that I've been popping in with like timelines and stuff. But
yeah, I'm gonna endeavor to read that this weekend. The whole thing. I know you're still adding more to it, but I want to.
Oh, I'm gonna be adding more and more, even tonight more. But yeah.
I know. Like, I'm glad that it's got a lot of times. OneNote will show you like what's new since the last time you looked. So I'll be able to see the new stuff.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think that was pretty okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That was mediocre at best.
Mediocre at best. A firm.
You know what?
1.5 out of 5.
I always love letting Hugh be a chaos goblin.
Oh my god! Just like, are you just fucking with me? Or are you just stupid?
He is a good instigator.
Yeah. Well,
he's terrifying because he has no remorse because he thinks he's doing everything is good and like is right and
5 out of 7, perfect score.
Yeah. I love that guy.
5 out of 7. God damn it! So fucking funny.
I really should have numbered the sessions in my OneNote.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's okay. I'll add some things for my own sake later on. But that was a good session. I definitely know we're going to be back for more next Thursday for sure, because we are. And let's see what we can do with it and go from there. Other than that, to all watching, thank you. And to the rest of you guys, thank you again. And we'll see you next time.